Welcome, everyone, to episode 104 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, Tom, skeletons are making games now, too?
Only when you put enough of them together to make a crew.
Fair. This episode, we're going to be talking about Olija, not Olija, as I probably pronounced that in the last episode, but it is Olija by Skeleton Crew Studios. Yeah.
Good alliteration.
Yeah, actually it is very good. This game came out back in January of 2021, although it was released on Game Pass the following year in 2022. So happy birthday. But this game on PC was 964 megabytes. Tom, what about you?
This is exciting. 656.4 megabytes on the Xbox One.
Ooh, those bony hands know how to work their way through the Xbox, don't they?
Saving you 50%.
Yeah. Who knew? Good job. Good job, crew. What kind of game is this?
I put side-scrolling platformer.
Yeah. I went a little different because a friend of the show, Larry, had given me this name, but I put 2D Microvania.
What is that? Microvania?
Well, it's like a subset of like the Castlevania / Metroid style of game, which I thought this kind of reminded me of because, as we'll talk about, there's some stuff that happens in the game that you're like, that you and I are not necessarily fans of. But yeah, 2D Microvania is what I put. And what about that game loop?
I put traverse levels to find items to unlock new stages and abilities and ultimately get home.
Yes, I put explore the world, collect power-ups, and go home. So similar. It's funny, as I'm looking at your notes, it's eerily similar to what our likes and dislikes are for this episode, for this game. I was like, okay, are we doing that thing?
Maybe you should start with some of your likes, and I'll just agree with them.
Yeah, let's do that. So, first, right off the bat, the game starts out with a pretty cool cinematic. I thought that the art style in that was cool, and like just it really got you going and understanding what has happened and what you're dealing with throughout the rest of the game for the most part.
I wrote that almost that exactly, and I tacked on that they're accomplishing a lot with a little. Yes,
absolutely. It was a cool cinematic, and we'll talk about it in the dislikes. But it was so cool that it kind of hurt me later on. But also, I got to say, this game has some fantastic sound effects. Like you mentioned, I think Foley.
Yes.
But like every little thing, like the cutting of the grass, the impact that you have with like when you're hitting someone, it just felt really good. And like, and it was particularly pretty gory for what it was. Also, like when you kill people, their heads explode and like bodies. It's just crazy.
They can get away with a lot because it's 8-bit.
Yeah, yeah.
This kind of stuff would make you M-rated anywhere else.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I don't even know actually if this was M-rated overall, because I mean, it is a Devolver Digital published game, so
true.
I know they always try to up the ante on that stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't. There wasn't anything that made me think, oh, this is like an M game, playing it, except for that. But when you do that in 8-bit, I don't think that's enough to put you there. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Fair. I don't
know. I'll have to check. I'll have to look and see if I can find what the actual rating is on this game. But what about you? What about some things that you liked, Tom?
I agree 100% on the music and sound effects. Very good at setting the mood. I liked, I always like when a game teaches me the controls as I play, even if the controls are very simple. There aren't a whole lot of buttons here, but it's easy to pick up and play. And I appreciate that. Like, if you were not Tom or Chris, if maybe you are a much more casual video game player, this is totally a game you could pick up, know nothing about video games, and it'll teach you the buttons as you need them, and that's it. You're off to the races.
Yeah, for sure. What is it, like 4 or 5 buttons, if that?
Jump, you get attack, jump, secondary attack, and then later, which I also put is I enjoyed unlocking the harpoon and its grapple traversal. That's a little bit more complicated, but I didn't unlock that until late in the hour. So by then, even if you were a casual player, I feel like you'd be pretty comfortable with all the other buttons. So
it was a very satisfying mechanic, actually, to add to the game, I thought. But I want to go back to like the actual controls. Like, while they are simple and all that, the fighting mechanics were like, there was surprise. I don't want to say a surprising amount of depth, but there is kind of some depth to it, right?
Yeah,
because there is a down attack. You can not just your straightforward attack, but like you can kind of change things up a little bit when you're fighting the enemies in this game. So I was surprised about that, and it was cool to try that out. And like, with that said, some of the other stuff that I got to later on in my hour was like the upgrade mechanics, which throughout the game, or in this game, there is essentially a port that it becomes your home base. And in this home base, you kind of you can essentially upgrade the people that are there, and like, so you can have a guy that increases your health pool, then another person that like gets you hats that also give you some sort of perks and stuff like that as you play through the game. And I think the last person, I can't remember what it was now, but it's okay. But there's like another particular thing that you can upgrade in your base as well. And it's pretty cool.
Is it the fellow that you send on missions?
Yes, exactly. That guy. So he can get you, I guess, items and stuff like that. Kind of reminded me of like Monster Hunter World, where you could do that to send these kind of your palicos and stuff to go grab items for you. So I thought that was kind of neat. So that kind of stuff was cool. And being able to, again, tweak your gameplay a little bit to hopefully make it easier for you to go through your runs of the levels that you go to in the game. So
I also appreciate that it's not all like flat progression. Like, obviously the health bar is like, you get more health, and so you're harder to kill. But like the thing, like the hats, like you have to pick and choose, like, which hat am I going to get made right now? What's going to work for me now? And then you can't wear all the hats at once. So you have to pick which hat are you going to use for what you're going to do. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's all I have right now for my likes. What about you, Tom? Anything else?
I had one more, which is that I enjoyed the level transitions.
Yes.
And how they're accomplished with like a simple cutscene, and it hides the loading, which thank you. If this one man developer can do it, you all can do it. And it just works really well. It's got a very classic game kind of feel to it, even like old school Resident Evil, where it's like you approach the door and it shows you the little animation of you approaching the door, and the door opens and then it loads the next. Perfect.
That's exactly what I thought when that animation happened. That they pulled this right from Resident Evil, which is cool, easy enough, and got you going, or at least kept you in the game while it's doing its stuff in the background. So good on you, Skeleton Crew. So that's that.
That said, those are the things we liked. What didn't we like, Chris?
Yeah. Why don't you start, Tom?
Okay. I was deceived by this game's cover art right from the jump.
Yes.
The game's cover art makes it look like one kind of game, and then you start the game and it's this 8-bit game, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is a bait and switch.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to play one kind of game and I was playing a different kind of game.
It's funny because obviously back in the day, if we saw this cover art, we would be like, okay, that's cool cover art. The game is going to look like an 8-bit game.
Yeah.
But because we're in this new world,
yes,
this new time where there's a lot of cool graphics and games that look like this, right?
Yeah.
That you would make that assumption that, okay, this game could look like this. And then, yeah, that whole bait and switch was not cool, man. I'm in total agreement with you with this because I was like, oh, wow, this is a really cool cinematic. And like, I thought it was going to like flow right into the game and like how, and then it was like, nope. I was like, what is this? What is going on? I will say though, that they did a good job with what they had.
Yes.
Like that was, I appreciated that much.
And they couldn't have used the actual game assets for their cover art because it would just look like playing an Atari game and you would be like, I'm not going to play this.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm a total agreement with that. But, you know, it works. It still works though. And that was a good thing. I had a problem though, where the game, when it first started, was surprisingly, it took a long time to load for me.
Ooh, interesting. I did not have any loading problems on the Xbox.
Huh. Like it was, I
did have a problem with the loading later where my game straight up froze during one of the loading sequences and I had to reset it. So
the game did crash for me too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe that initial load that you felt was a bug, not a feature.
Maybe it's definitely possible, but I was, because again, the size of the game, the you know, the art assets and stuff like that. I assumed it would be fairly quick to get to, you know, the next level or next page, whatever it is. I thought it was a kind of annoying. I kind of get it why they did it, but with the boat scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They took really long, and I was like, just get me into the game. I really wanted to just get my game going. And
yeah, I didn't like those either. I thought they were just a little too long. Yeah. Like maybe make them 40% shorter or something.
Right. And so that was a little frustrating. But the other thing that, Tom, you and I wrote this here, the backtracking.
Yeah. God.
It's that kind of game. It's that kind of game where but you know, there's definitely a person out there, or several people out there, that love that kind of, you know, because there is like that kind of
there's at least one person out there.
Yeah, there's a kind of wonder that you get from like, oh, I got this ability now, can I do this or whatnot? So that's cool, and like I like how they kind of laid that out there. So, but for me, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, dang, I'm not going back there. I'm just let me just keep going. Just keep progressing the story. The other thing I wanted to point out was I was playing this game on my PC, but I was playing it with a controller. But the tooltips for like all the new mechanics and stuff like that were only using PC controls, like the keyboard.
Interesting.
So I was like, as I'm just like fiddling with the controller just to see like, so the harpoon mechanic, especially when you're doing the dash, it's like press this and do this to let it go. Like, and like I think I was at a point where I could die if I dropped off. So I didn't want to. I was a little nervous about what I was going to press next. So that was a little scary and unfortunate.
Obviously, it showed me controller buttons. You know,
right.
So it's interesting that it didn't register that you were playing with the controller.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe if I load it up again, I can see it, like with making sure the controller's there and not touching the keyboard. Maybe it'll show up the controller options. So,
well, I could tell you that the options themselves kind of suck. I put as one of my negatives, there are no options to speak of other than volume.
Yeah,
like there really aren't. There wasn't a way to remap my controls on the Xbox. There wasn't really anything there.
Right.
So I thought that was, you know, It was very bare bones. I guess not too surprising based on the kind of game. But I love when you give us options as players, and to not have any is a yucky.
Yes, indeed a yucky. Speaking of yucky, the mumble words that happened.
Oh my God.
Honestly, I was a little confused because I thought for a second, I was like, is this an actual language that I'm not understanding? Because
am I just ignorant?
Right. I mean, I could totally be ignorant because in between the mumbles, like they would say the character's name, which is Faraday. Faraday is the main character. And they would say the main character's name, Olija, which, I was, again, surprised. Oh, no, actually, when in the text, they would never actually say Olija. It's like at the beginning of the game where they say Olija. But still, like, they would drop in words that you're like, oh, wait, are they actually saying something? Like, so that was a little confusing to me. It was done well, but I can understand it being grating for you, Tom, because I see that as a negative.
Yes, I have that. It gets on my nerves. I also counterpointed out that the Foley is so good.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they didn't bother doing real voice acting.
Just have the guy just speak out the lines. That's all you had to do. Like, he had a good voice to do it.
Yeah, and it's not like there's so much dialogue that this game is 600 megabytes. Like, you've got space, guys. Like, you could use some for some audio.
Right.
Especially since you've recorded audio. Like, you've recorded all this other audio. I don't get it.
Yeah. So that was confusing for sure. And I thought the game sometimes could be confusing because because you said that, like, there's no objective markers and stuff like that. There is a map that shows you like where you can go. And in the beginning, it's very limited. It's like 2 places you can go to. And one of the 2, you can't even do anything really. Like, you get introduced to the fact that there's this gate. There's this gate that you need keys to unlock. And that is essentially your end goal, right? That is your goal to get out of this whole world. Is you need 3 keys, 3 blue keys to unlock it and get out of here, supposedly. So, but before that, I was like, okay, am I supposed to get a new mechanic or something like that? Where am I supposed to go? And I was a little confused. I did pick up a key and I forgot that you had to go back to this area where it required a key to get to the next part. But again, there's no like kind of like no one's pushing you to go to a certain place or whatnot. You just had to kind of figure it out.
I had the same problem with that golden key where I got the key and I was like, okay, I got the key. I can leave this area now. And then I went back to the port city and I was like, wait, what do I do with this key? There's no other map. Like, what? And then I had that. Oh, that's right. There was an area there that was locked with the key.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Right. I mean, I guess I appreciate it. If the game opened up with everything to go access, and then I had that key, I would have been like, oh, forget it. I don't know what to do at this point, because the fact that they only gave you 2 options of where to go,
right,
kind of narrowed it down.
It doesn't work over here. Like, the key doesn't work over there. So it's got to be back where you came from, kind of thing.
Right. So, but it was definitely a little confusing at times because of that. Any other things you want to bring up about negatives here? Dislikes?
I just want to agree with you some more, which is, all of the things you said are on my list. It's like we played this game together. We didn't, but we did.
All right, Tom. So any other thoughts on this game? Okay.
So it was weird because it looks like there's only 4 stages total in the game, I think. But there are at least 3 other weapons that I didn't unlock. So I'm not sure, like, there was a lot of unlockables and not a lot of places they could be. So did I miss things? I don't know. I guess playing more will discover that.
Absolutely.
But I don't know how long, like, wow. I played for an hour. What more is there?
Did you? There was like every time you completed a level, it would show you, the keys that you unlocked. It seems like people that you can save. There was like captives or whatnot. And yeah, to your point, like there was other slots for particular other new weapons. Like I just got a crossbow at the end of mine too.
Ooh.
So that was interesting. And yeah, I don't know, but I can tell you though that How Long to Beat says this game takes about 4 hours to beat. So we're a quarter of the way through, Tom. A quarter of the way through. So this game does have Xbox Cloud Save and it's mobile compatible, but unfortunately, Tom, it is not commode compatible because you need a controller. You need a controller to play this on your mobile phone.
Ah.
So
when I saw your note, I was like, wait, what? And now, okay. Yeah.
Yes, it is not toilet friendly here. So that's that. So what are we thinking here, Tom? Is this a game that we're gonna keep playing or keep it lost in this weird world? But before we get to that, we wanted to let you know about a spectacular sponsor, Winner Winner. Winner Winner is a live arcade claw machine game available on Android and iOS, and it's 100% skill-based. Trust me, if you see me play my games, you know I'm not that great, and I still have won games on my first try. There's hundreds of prizes, even featuring gaming merch from Nintendo. Pick your prize from choices in your particular game, or bank your earnings with tickets to redeem any other prize you want from their wide selection. And for all you lovely people listening or watching our show, you can get bonus tokens on your first app token purchase. Download and create your account, then use the link in the episode's description to enter promo code WHATITDO after you sign in. Check it out. It's clawsome.
So I'll be honest, I was ready to give up when my game froze because I wasn't having a great time up until then. I was a little lost at times and things like that. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And now the game broke. But ultimately, after I reset the Xbox and came back in, I did enjoy, the rest of that time that I spent with the game. It's also a very small game, as we've discussed. Yeah. So I'm gonna sit on it. I'm gonna keep it, and we'll see. 4 hours sounds pretty appealing. I like the sound of 4 hours. So
3 hours at this point for you,
even better.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like a particularly difficult game. Like there was some challenging parts, but it's not like overly punishing, I would say. So, and I'm in agreement with you. 4 hours, it seems like it was fun enough. Like the harpoon mechanics definitely added another layer of complexity that was still fun, but not like frustrating. So I'm definitely going to keep this. I'm going to make sure to try and beat this game because it was fun. I want to see what the heck happens. So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us, say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D, or check us out on our streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, send a comment down below and we'll try to see if we can respond to that. And Tom, as you know, 1H1D is part of the QTV network. And if you like gaming podcasts and other cool gaming content, they do a lot of stuff on TikTok now. So check them out at quitthebuild.com/network.
Chris, every time you say that, I think to myself, people who are listening to this probably do like gaming podcasts.
They do. And they might like cool content on TikTok. I don't know. Maybe. TikTok's a thing, right?
It exists.
It exists.
It's what a clock does.
Yeah. Speaking of existing, we need to find out, though, what is existing in our playlist next, Tom.
Yes. Otherwise, the show does not exist.
It does not. That's right. We've had a good run. Here we go. We're going to hit that surprising button and find out what's in store for us next.
I like the idea that the show ends because we just don't press the surprising button at the end of an episode.
Yeah. Or someone doesn't give us a request. But right. Tom.
Yes.
We are playing Dragon Age 2.
Okay. For a second, I was like, Dragon Age? No, we're not, because I've played Dragon Age. But I abandoned ship after, I think it was Awakening. The expansion. No, there was an expansion. I can't remember. The original, Origins was the original game. Awakening was the expansion to the original game. And then I was out because the second one, which it sounds like the one that we're going to play now, I remember hearing was really bad. So I guess we'll find out.
We're going to find out, because that's what we got in store for our next episode. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.